here in Jacksonville at LessConf with Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary, I would run down your list of businesses, but you open a new one every week.
And then
so
the tape would run out, or not the tape.
Yeah. We'd run out of memory on the camera.
I think right now it's imperative to be branded as, the author of Crush It.
Obviously,
so,
yeah.
crushitbook.com. But, in the wine business, in the consulting business, in the food business, trying to keep busy. Nance.
I think you have accomplished that, Gary.
Thank you.
But let's kind of move away from business for a moment.
Okay.
You are famous for cheerleading and basically telling people to work 18 hours a day. How's being a dad changed your perspective on that?
It hasn't. Because I don't want people necessarily to work, I want them to work their 18 hours, right? Mm-hmm. Which is no Nintendo Wii, no Lost. If they're unhappy. Mm-hmm. All that stuff. I don't necessarily need people to work, 24 hours a day. I just need them to not do stupid stuff when they're unhappy. And if that ends up being 12 hours a day, or 7 or 4, that's fine, because obviously family is first. And a lot of times for a lot of people, your first job is first, because that's what pays your mortgage. It's just at night, instead of plopping on the couch and eating junk food and watching, Baywatch reruns, there's a lot of opportunity to build brand.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and although you are known for doing all that motivational speaking about the, getting out there and doing it, recently it seems to me like your focus has shifted a little bit away from pure just motivation into a little more practical advice, especially with the book. Can you talk about that shift a little bit? You know what?
It's always been there. It's just the rah-rah stuff is so sexy and people focus it. You're talking to somebody who's not, I'm not one of these, journalists who wrote a rah-rah book. I'm not a consultant to be a consultant. I'm not a motivational speaker, and that's my profession, or a life coach, or self-help dude. I build businesses.
Yeah.
I built, a $70 million wine company. I built, AJ and I, my dad and I, obviously are partners and family, but, I've spearheaded, VaynerMedia, which, is, well on its way to being $1 million company, and Gourmet Library, and, and I was the kid that was making $1,000 a weekend selling baseball cards, which, if you prorate, is $52,000 a year for one day a week's work. So this is a knack. This is a skill. I'm massively, I've always said be patient, hustle, practical, but that always got, pushed to the side to we can do it. So this is no shift. This is actually probably why I wrote the book. Because in a book environment, I think it comes through more for a lot of people.
It doesn't get lost.
It doesn't get lost as much because there's sections just devoted to it.
Okay. You've been investing in a lot of startups. What gets your attention or gets you excited about one? Like in my house, when my tech geek husband and I are looking at a new tech product, it has to pass the mom test. Could our moms use that?
Yeah. Well, I don't think I would invest in any startup if that had to be my barometer, because moms get involved later.
Yeah, exactly.
Products iterate to become mom friendly. Mine is this value, and does it invoke emotion? And those are the two things I look at. Does this product make people think about something, feel something? Facebook inherently created an environment of your world. Twitter gave you a feel of speed, almost like driving a fast Porsche that you never saw before. So those are the kind of things I look at.
So you assume that if it brings that kind of feeling, then that's a good investment down the road because it'll gain some traction?
No, that's just some of the things I look for from a product standpoint. Then I look at who's the entrepreneur, who's driving the car. That's imperative to me. And so there's a lot of factors. Is the product overhyped within the mind of the entrepreneur, which means it's not going to be as good of a deal for me. There's a lot of practical things that I look at.
Okay, now you're talking a lot about like the personal branding and finding your passion and stuff. What are the say top 3 skills or so that you think that people need to be able to craft that sort of branding for themselves?
I think there's I don't think there's a lot. So I think this is what's important. I think everybody can win. Not everybody is going to win. Not everybody's going to be Oprah. There's going to be a lot of Donahues and a lot of Sally Jesse Raphaels and a lot of Geraldos, right? What I think is important is this for people to understand. The fact that we all can now go to Yankee Stadium, tap the plate, and get a swing at the bat was not real 3 years ago. You couldn't become a player. What, you were going to leave your kids and your husband, fly to LA and find an agent?
Yeah.
It wouldn't, you had a shot. So that's what I'm screaming. Not that I'm necessarily everybody, I know, I love it. Not that necessarily everybody's going to win on this epic level and everybody's going to win $1 trillion, but do not disrespect the fact that everybody has a swing at the plate. And that's a big deal. Big deal.
Just the access alone.
Sure. Sure. Do you know what it would have cost for us to produce this 10 years ago? Not $200.
I don't even want to guess.
Not $200 between the back end and do you know how much it would have cost to distribute it outside of public access television? Millions.
Yeah.
And do you know how much it would have cost to promote it with billboards and print and all that? Hundreds of thousands or millions. Now you can use Twitter and Facebook and build a community and that becomes your audience. People are completely disrespecting the size of the shift.
Okay, now everybody knows you want to buy the Jets. Do you have any other goals? No, that's it.
The only goal I have is that, and to spend time with my family and make sure they're healthy, big boy stuff like that. And even the Jets goal is a big one, but not something that will define me. I'm not going to jump off a cliff if I don't end up buying them. I'm not going to be 73 and be like, I'm tired, I can't do it anymore, and go. I mean, but I want it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, a lot of web workers spend a lot of time on the road, just like you do. Mm-hmm. So, what's the number one piece of travel advice that you've picked up in
Great question. Good for you.
In all the time that you've
I do a lot of interviews,
planes.
so when I get new good questions, they're good. It's the number one piece of advice. I think there's only 2 things you should do as a business person in this web world when you're flying. 2. Sleep or do email. No in between. Hardcore, get in the trenches with your audience and answer their questions, or get the rest you need to execute it. Don't watch a movie. And I understand you need time to unwind. People need that. But that stuff needs to be cut out a little bit. That part where you're watching Seinfeld reruns on your flight, that's those 2 hours that really are the difference in building a big business. Now, if you're happy and content, then watch Seinfeld.